Full of natural beauty, national parks, and kitschy bits of Americana, South Dakota has so much to explore. Begin your South Dakota journey in Badlands National Park. Millions of years of erosion have sculpted these stunning vertical peaks and horizontal stripes that almost look painted on. The aptly named Wall stretches for 60 miles, and the park covers 244,000 acres. If you're lucky, you will see all kinds of wildlife here, including bighorn sheep, bison, and even some squeaky prairie dogs. Next, from Grand Canyon-like views to some Flintstones-like rock formations. One of the most amazing things about the landscape here in South Dakota are these needles, which are basically really tall rock formations that kind of look like needles, but it gets even better. You will get to drive through Needles Highway and eventually even drive through the eye of a needle. Pack your Dramamine for the Swirly Twirly Needles Highway. It was mapped out on horseback and on foot so that visitors would slow down and enjoy the incredible view, all while not harming the landscape. Needles Highway lies within Custer State Park, where the buffalo literally roam and roam and roam. In fact, Custer State Park is home to one of the nation's largest free-roaming buffalo herds, which brings us to one of the more unique tourist attractions here, the Buffalo Jam. You might also encounter deer or donkeys, just all roaming around their land the way nature intended. There are also 5 lakes within the park, including Sylvan Lake, a lovely little oasis very popular for camping. Next, we go from wide-open prairies to Christmas tree-covered mountains. This is the beautiful Black Hills National Forest, and it is named Black Hills because, as you can see, the evergreen trees that grow here are so dark green they almost look black. And that sound you hear right now, that is from Spearfish Canyon Falls. Now, the Native Americans named the creek and the falls Spearfish because the water is so clear they could spearfish in it. Tucked within all that natural beauty are 2 man-made, awe-inspiring mountain-sized memorials. The first, the iconic Mount Rushmore. Each of the presidents on Mount Rushmore represents a different facet of the first 150 years of U.S. history. Washington represents the founding of our country. Jefferson represents expansion. Roosevelt represents development. And Lincoln, of course, represents preservation. You can still see some of the 450,000 tons of rock that were either blown or chipped off to create this American icon. The second monument is Crazy Horse Memorial. The idea began when Chief Henry Standing Bear wrote a letter to the sculptor.
And he wrote to Dad and asked if he would like to let the white man know the red man has great heroes also. And Dad, he got that letter in '39 and he was just taken aback by it.
But this beautiful dedication to Native Americans is not done yet. Construction on the Crazy Horse Memorial began in the 1940s, and as you can see, it is still a beautiful work in progress. Now, if it is completed according to the original design, it could possibly be the largest sculpture in the entire world. From mountainous memorials to the quirkier side of South Dakota, it is time to wet our whistles at the local watering hole. The historic town of Deadwood was established during the 1876 gold rush to provide goods and services for all those gold miners, but it soon became the playground for some of those Wild West folk heroes, from Calamity Jane to Wild Bill Hickok. In fact, this is the saloon where it is believed that Wild Bill Hickok was shot, during a wild game of poker, of course. But even amidst all that gunslinging, the Victorian architecture has been well preserved and restored here, and it is actually quite pretty. And Deadwood itself is a National Historic Landmark. Next, we leave the Wild West of the 19th century to partake in that 20th century tradition of the family road trip and all those quirky roadside attractions. Where can you find a giant jackalope, a traveler's chapel, the world's best maple donuts, and of course, Annie Oakley? Well, you just follow the signs to Wall Drug. Those legendary Wall Drug billboards stretch for miles along the highways. Wall Drug is a 70,000 square foot mecca of kitsch, with restaurants, stores, a museum, an amusement park, even an art gallery. And it all started in the 1930s with the small family drugstore, owned by Rick Husted's grandparents, Ted and Dorothy. Dorothy had a simple yet brilliant idea to attract all those tourists off the highway.
She said, Ted, we gotta let people know we're here. We should put up a sign, get a soda, get a beer, turn next corner just as near to Highway 16 and 14, free ice water, Wall Drug Store. Ted thought it was a little corny, but it just might work.
And work it did. Today, Wall Drug is one of America's most popular roadside attractions. It's the perfect pit stop between the natural beauty, the wonder, and the Wild West history that is South Dakota. And did I mention the maple donuts here are really good too?
I'm only eating this because it's a taste of history.